The week after my son, Declan, married my new daughter-in-law, Celeste, she showed up at my front door with a sharply dressed man named Graham, carrying a leather briefcase. She smiled sweetly and introduced him as a notary, saying they only needed my signature on a few documents that would make life easier for me. My heart started racing because I already knew exactly why they were there. What they did not know was that I had spent the last several months quietly protecting myself after my late husband left me a valuable ranch that no one in the family knew existed. Keeping that secret would soon become the reason I did not lose everything. 3 months earlier, when Declan told me he wanted to marry Celeste, I was overjoyed. I spent hours cooking every meal he had loved since childhood because I wanted his future wife to feel welcomed into our family. I imagined sharing recipes, holidays, and one day helping raise grandchildren. Instead, the moment Celeste stepped into my house, she treated me like I embarrassed her. She barely hugged me, criticized my cooking without saying it directly, looked around my home with quiet disgust, and answered every question with cold one-word replies. That dinner ended with a heavy silence I could not explain, but deep inside I felt something was wrong. As the wedding approached, Celeste pushed me aside at every opportunity. She rejected my offer to bake the wedding cake, laughed at my homemade traditions, and made me feel as though my entire life was outdated. On the wedding day, she seated me far behind strangers while her own family occupied the best seats. During the reception, she introduced me only as the woman who cooked well, interrupted my speech after only a few sentences, and left me sitting alone while everyone celebrated. The hardest moment came when my own son never even asked me to dance. I drove home that night with tears running down my face, feeling like I had lost my son without anyone saying the words aloud. After the honeymoon, Declan barely spoke to me. When I visited with his favorite cookies, Celeste accepted them without even inviting me inside. That lonely drive home forced me to remember something my late husband once told me. He said I was stronger than I believed and that one day I would understand why he had carefully planned for my future. The next morning, I opened our old safe and found the deed to a 500-acre ranch worth millions of dollars. My husband had left it entirely to me. In that moment, I decided nobody would know about it until the right time. Only a few days later, Celeste suddenly became very interested in my finances. She suggested my house was too large for someone my age and insisted I should sell it, move into a smaller place, and let her and Declan help manage the money. Soon, Declan repeated the same arguments almost word for word. It broke my heart because I realized he was no longer speaking with his own voice. I quietly contacted my lifelong friend, Marisol, who immediately arranged a meeting with attorney Calvin Mercer. After hearing everything, he warned me that many older people lose their homes through emotional pressure rather than force. He helped protect every asset I owned and told me never to sign anything without him. Not long afterward, Declan and Celeste returned carrying a thick folder filled with paperwork. They claimed it would simplify my life by selling my home, placing me in an assisted living facility, and allowing them to control my finances. I pretended to be confused while secretly recording every conversation. They believed I was a frightened old woman who would eventually give in. Celeste even placed a pen into my hand and smiled as though victory was already hers. Just as I appeared ready to sign, the doorbell rang. Standing outside were Marisol, attorney Calvin Mercer, and an investigator named Darius Boone from the county office. They entered calmly and announced they would supervise every document before anything was signed. The confidence immediately disappeared from Celeste and Graham. Then I opened my safe and placed the ranch deed on the table. The attorney explained that the property was worth many millions of dollars. The room fell completely silent. Celeste stared at the papers in disbelief while Declan looked like someone waking from a nightmare. I calmly explained that I had already placed all my assets under legal protection and that every conversation about selling my home had been recorded. The investigator collected the documents they had brought, and Graham quickly tried to leave. Celeste attempted to claim they only wanted to help me, but her words sounded empty now that the truth was exposed. I looked at my son and told him that if he truly wanted what was best for me, he would have respected my choices instead of trying to take them away. Over the following months, Celeste disappeared from our lives, and eventually their marriage ended. Declan began visiting me alone every week, slowly trying to rebuild the trust he had broken. I forgave him little by little, but only after I saw genuine change in his actions. My ranch became more than just property. I transformed it into a safe place where older adults could find legal guidance and emotional support when facing manipulation from their own families. Hey there, everyone. Today we're talking about how to keep love fresh. Firstly, plan some surprise events for your partner to heat up your relationship on memorable days. Being honest and open with your partner about your feelings is also important. Remember, love isn't just about feelings, it's also about actions. If you truly care for someone, you'll take the necessary steps to keep that love alive and vibrant. So here's a tip. Don't hesitate to express your feelings of affection toward your partner. They need to feel cherished too. Let's stay positive and keep love alive.